Hey, podcasters. Monday, and the Riot
Monday.
is back strong.
Oh, yeah.
Strong.
Woo!
Riot strong. Woo!
That's all the energy we can give you.
And that's it. That's all.
You even took your glasses off for that one. You needed
because
it all.
when I was flexing, I didn't want to break them.
That's true. Now they're back on.
Yeah, so we're ready. Inside the podcast, we're already talking about Christmas. It's real.
The struggle is real.
The struggle is real.
And how we cope is real, too.
We are also talking about other ways or other animals Nikki could work with instead of goats. We talk, Brandon, thank you for giving me an excuse to talk about my 70-inch TV again.
And Black Panther.
Oh, yeah, we talk some Black Panther, people wanting you to feel bad, Mother's Day, and spoilers. No, that's it. Like, we talk about spoilers in a meta sense. So there aren't spoilers.
Do you like spoilers or do you not like spoilers? Which is actually posted if you go to our RadioU Facebook page. Did you post it on the Riot one too?
I did not. It's just on the RadioU one. I suppose we could share it to
You can
both.
do that. If not, you can always answer us if you like spoilers or not through RadioU Riot. You just message us or post there.
There's an interesting article that we found where they kind of analyze whether or not you like spoilers or you think they matter. So
we'll categorize it in the when we talk about it as an Obie, a Nikki, or Hudson.
Yes.
So let us know which one you are, and we'll understand why you're saying that.
So you guys have a great Monday, good start to the week, and we'll see you tomorrow.
You know what, though? When I was in the break room, like my shirt is all wet here. Did I spill water on me this morning and not know it?
You think you've been drooling?
Did I do it in there? I don't know. I'm very concerned. It's really wet. Like my whole shirt here, this is all wet.
Well, is the counter here wet at all?
No.
Then
and
it's
not over there.
Then it has to have happened in the break room,
I'm
right?
bleeding. I can't tell it's a black shirt.
I don't know.
I can't tell.
Nah, you'd be able to tell. It'd discolor that a little bit.
Okay, I'm just worried. I don't like when something happens and you can't remember how it possibly happened.
Yeah.
I just feel like I've missed something.
Well, I didn't see you wiping. If you had spilled something, you would have been wiping it up.
I know, right? Unless my shirt wiped it up.
Yeah, but
And
it would have
I
had to
didn't
have been
know.
enough. You would have. I feel like if we had been in here doing something and you had had your shirt up to the table, like you would have felt it
I would
and
have
reacted
noticed
to
it.
it.
Well, I don't know how it
Because
happened.
in here, we're all loud and reacting to everything.
I'm just going to focus on that the rest of the day, wondering why and how it happened. While
Well,
you guys enjoy this podcast.
We already are. It is the Riot.
Sometimes a bad example is the best example. It's the worst of the Riot on RadioU.
I hope you were good to your mother yesterday. What I did was I went ahead and made lunch. Like I'm an only child, so, solo on that. But I made brunch all by myself. And I got to tell you what, I did pretty good, guys.
Something good about a brunch, right?
You guys should have been there, except you weren't invited, because that would have been weird.
Well, just within spirit and heart.
Yeah. So I did scrambled eggs. I used my air fryer to make hash browns. But here's the thing. I went to they were frozen potatoes. Like, I didn't cut them up fresh.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah. And I went to the frozen food section looking through the different kinds of potatoes. Did you know that they have like McDonald's style hash browns?
Yeah, the little the shape of the ones.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
like
buy
the
them
little-
like in a flat of whatever.
What?
Yeah, you can buy a ton of them.
What?
They're not a lot of money. Which makes you think about it when you go get one of theirs.
I will tell you, that was the hash browns I made.
Oh, is it?
Well, because it was one of those things where I was just in awe of the fact that I could make those at home.
Yeah.
So I took them home and I put them in the air fryer. And I got to tell you two things. One, better than McDonald's.
Sure.
Two, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You're telling me that in the privacy of my own home, I can create those?
I think at Costco you can get like 50 in a pack or something.
Well, it was a good news, bad news kind of thing. Good news, these exist. Bad news, these exist.
Now you know that this could actually happen during a breakfast time at home on your own time.
You could create these in the privacy of your own home. It literally blew my mind. It was just like, no, these are made by Ronald himself at the mother base and then shipped out to all the locations. You can't have these somewhere else.
I'm not supposed to be able to make this.
I just stood there in the grocery store holding this pack of 10 hash browns like, this can't be. They have snuck into the heart of McDonald's territory and emerged with this box.
Well, I'm glad that was good.
Yeah, it was. That was something. And then what else did I make? Bacon. Thick slice applewood smoked. That's what I like. I like the apple to smoke the bacon before I go ahead and create it. And, man, once you've had deli thick sliced, it's hard to go back.
And then you made waffles?
I did make waffles. Now, when I make waffles, I make them with some chocolate chips in there.
Sure.
Because, we're all going to die anyway.
You might as well have some chocolate chips.
I mean, we're having bacon. Why are we pretending like putting chocolate chips in the waffles is decadent?
Well, it seems like you were a good son for making Mother's Day brunch yesterday.
I did well. And you know what? Here was my thought is, we talked about, well, where do we want to go out to eat? And we always do. And then I just thought, that thing where you're all standing around, you're all waiting and just standing. It's like, let's not. Let's go back to my place where there's nobody. Like, we won't have to put up with anyone standing around.
Just me and the food that I make.
Fine. And you know what? Like, that worked out all right.
Good.
I don't know that I want to fix brunch every weekend, but I'll tell you this. This morning, the leftovers, threw them in the microwave, then put them in a burrito. Little bit of ketchup, just a tiny bit.
Just perfect.
It was good.
Well, hopefully everybody had a good Mother's Day yesterday.
So happy Mother's Day, moms. And you know what? Next year, guys, go ahead and make the brunch. And then you got leftovers. Because, dang, I'll be doing that again tomorrow.
We searched for something positive to say about the riot and finally came up with one word. Consistent. Consistently terrible, but still consistent. Radio U.
You know what's weird to me? It's weird to me that it seems like everywhere we go, somebody wants to make us feel bad about what we are. So whether you're a man or a woman, depending on where you are, somebody wants to make you feel bad about that. What color's your skin? Is it dark? Is it light? Is it whatever color you say it is? Somebody somewhere wants to make you feel bad about that. And heaven help you if you're a man that's that color or a woman that's that color or, whatever. Or how about, are you tall? Well, or are you short? Whatever it is, somebody somewhere is mad at you for whatever. And the funny thing is, that's the stuff you don't pick. People are mad at you for something that you completely did not pick. I didn't pick to be a man. I didn't pick my skin color. Nikki didn't choose to be a girl. I mean, these are just the things that we are. Like, you are what you are. And somebody's mad at you because once they looked at you, they were like, wow, look at that skin. My skin's better than that skin. It's so, like, when you really take a step back and look at it, it is so stupid, but we're doing it. And here's what I got to get you to understand. A couple things. One, stop it. What if we all just stopped?
That's the big number one right there.
Like, what if we just stopped? Like, what if we stopped, looking down on people? It feels like we're all massively inferior. When I have to look at you and the color of your skin or your gender or whatever, and I have to look down on you, it reeks of me being afraid that you're superior. So it's like I'm going to pull you down in an effort to push myself up. It's ridiculous. So let's, one, stop that. And two, here's something I want you personally to know. You spent your life being made to feel bad because of whatever it is that you are. I want you to know that God made you. And so he loves you. And even if your whole life people have told you that your skin color makes you not good enough, or, your height makes you not good enough, or your width, I don't know, whatever it is that you just are what you are, and people have made you feel like it's not good enough. As far as God is concerned, it is good enough. He made you. He loves you. He accepts you the way you are, and he affirms you. And I mean that to say that, the color of your skin, he made it and he loves it. So look, don't let people talk down to you because of, the genetics that you were handed to. And hey, you didn't ask for them. I got things about me I don't like. I didn't ask for. I've got them. It's fine. Start a relationship with God and get to know how much he loves you. Because that's the other thing. When you know how much God loves you, it will help you deal with the fact that the world is full of jerks. Real talk, right?
Makes that a little bit easier.
Seriously. So look, if you don't have a relationship with Jesus, if you don't know just how special and created you are, let God in and say, Jesus, I want that. I want you to come into my life. I want you to fill me with your spirit. I want you to, I want to know your love. I want to know what Obadiah is talking about. So come in to my life right now. And you know what? That's a great place to start. It's not a finish line. It's a starting line. God's going to be with you all day. Talk to him about what's going on or what happened.
The Worst of the Riot box set is now available nowhere because we know you wouldn't want it anyway. It's The Worst of the Riot on Radio U.
The Harris poll. That's something that the Harris family gets out and beats their children with.
No, I think it's probably a survey thing.
Oh, my bad. Wrong poll, right? Yeah, the Harris poll, they did a little polling over the last few whatevers, and it's an annual study in which they take a look at 77,000 consumers, and they asked them to rate randomly selected brands for familiarity, quality, and purchase consideration. So, for example, they asked them people's favorite food, favorite this, favorite that, like all kinds of stuff.
To find out what their favorite brand is?
Mm-hmm. So, like, for example, their favorite, according to the Harris poll, the American people, our favorite burger place is Five Guys Burgers and Fries.
That one.
Our favorite casual dining restaurant is the Cheesecake Factory. They said it actually tied with Texas Roadhouse.
Okay, but Texas Roadhouse is like, wait a minute, guys.
You know what? That's fair.
Say me first.
I like both of those places.
Yeah, and I guess they're casual enough.
There's a Texas Roadhouse that isn't far from my house that, like, on, I think it might be Monday through Thursday. If you go before 6 p.m., they've got, like, they don't call it this, but it's like the early bird.
Yeah.
Where you go and it's like $8. Well, when you get up at 4 a.m., you're ready for dinner at like 4:30.
Early bird is not. It's actually your dinner time.
I'm like right on. So like, yes, this is fine. I'll eat at your Roadhouse. Our favorite Mexican restaurant? Care to take a guess?
Not Taco Bell.
Oh.
Del Taco?
Give her a prize.
Oh, Taco
It's
Bell.
Taco Bell. Our favorite pizza chain? Blaze Pizza?
Blaze Pizza.
It's another one of those make-your-own pizza places.
Dude, if you go
There's
back...
400 within a 1 mile radius of Radio
If you
U.
go back a year and a half, there was none of those things. Now, fast forward, you could literally throw a rock out the window and hit a Starbucks and one of the make-your-own pizza places.
Come on. Like, that's all of them. Well, I'm glad you brought up Starbucks because this is the one that was the deep cut for me. They asked in this Harris poll of 77,000 people, they do it every single year, where can you get the best coffee?
Why did they say Krispy Kreme?
Well, you know, Nikki, because they think so.
Well, I know. I just think that's odd. In our circle, we don't know anybody who really goes for that.
Well, here's the funny thing. I don't think I've ever had
their coffee,
a cup of coffee from Krispy Kreme, ever. So that means I've got some work to do. I need to go to Krispy Kreme. I need to get some of their coffee. And while I'm there, I might as well have a donut.
I don't know if it's regional or something, but it tends to be more people tend to go after Dunkin' Donuts for their coffee.
Well, again, with this poll, they beat out Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts. I feel like Starbucks is easy to beat. I like Starbucks, but I don't, especially if we're just talking
People
about...
don't like to admit it if you're doing a coffee poll, though.
If they are just doing straight up drip coffee, I'm not a huge fan of Starbucks drip coffee because it doesn't have any candy in it. But
now they have plenty of candy to put in there.
They do.
So once you start adding all the whipped cream, it's better.
Dunkin' Donuts, I think, is actually very good, though that's a hotly contested subject around this building. So I don't know.
Some people like it, some people don't.
But I was amazed by that. The fact that Krispy Kreme beat out the others. Nikki, I'm telling you, we got to get over there.
I just can't. I don't let myself go through the drive-thru. Like, if someone brings in Krispy Kreme, that's one thing. But I'm not going to go through the Krispy Kreme drive-thru for coffee. Because then I won't just stop at coffee.
Well, but what's wrong with any of what you just said?
Well, because they're going to want to sell me something. I'll
Coffee
be like,
and a donut.
Of course I can have a couple donuts today. Why not?
You're here.
Yeah, I might as well have something.
They're not called Krispy Kreme coffee. They're called Krispy Kreme donuts. So you might as well get a donut.
I'm afraid to do that.
Worst of the Riot, not enough? Not enough? Check the blog and all things Riot at riot.radiou.com.
You guys ready for another week? You ready to face it?
Come on. This is going to be a good week.
I didn't say it wasn't going to be.
No, I was just trying to reiterate, like, if you need to bring in clapping, clap it in.
Yeah,
like,
come
we
on.
could clap our way
Bring
to
it in.
Friday. You know
Bring
that?
it in.
Come on.
It's practically Christmas.
Oh, my hands hurt.
Guys, listen, I have to tell you that I had what I felt like was a very, very affirming moment. I think it was on Thursday when Nikki and I were just hanging out. We were doing the RadioU 5K packet pickup, and we were talking about how we're almost done. We're doing this, whatever. And then as we were leaving, I think he was mocking us, but I think it's actually getting inside.
No, I think it worked for him.
Hudson says to us, he goes, "Yeah, it's practically Christmas."
And he It seemed like he enjoyed saying it. That's our statement when times get tough. Okay? Things were very busy for us last week. We had a lot going on.
We did.
And when time gets tough and like you can't cope and you feel like you can't take anymore, if you say to yourself, it's practically Christmas. I don't care if it's right after it's January or if it's the heat of the summer in like July. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
You just say it's practically Christmas. Somehow it calms you down.
Nikki and I, that's just a thing we say. So, like, for example, when we, as Nikki was saying, we have a lot going on, we'll just say, you know what, we're going to get this done, and then we're going to get that done, and then it's practically Christmas.
And I also think that's also a sign for the people around you to say, hey, she needs help.
She needs a little assistance.
She needs a little help because she's sad.
So it's like, all right, we're going to do the 5K, then we got a live event, then we got Memorial Day, we'll get through the summer, and the fall fundraiser, and then it's practically Christmas.
And suddenly, aren't you smiling?
So with 3 sentences, we dismissed the entire rest of the year.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Those times we don't really care about.
And it was so great to hear it from Hudson. Well, it's practically Christmas. And I was like, man, it's working.
It seemed like he liked saying it.
It's working.
So try it at home today.
That's what I'm saying. You guys go ahead and feel free to try it. You're like, man, I finally managed to drag myself out of bed. It's practically Christmas.
And your friends and families, if they're not in on the joke, will be like, oh, what's wrong with him? Like, you're way early. Like, what's up? But you, in your heart, you know you're fine.
You know what's going on. So you know what? Today, you're just going to get through this Monday.
Where's our other Christmas song?
You know what?
Well, we had to figure out who sang it because everyone asked about it.
Well, I'm going to tell you the truth. I can't find it.
Is this the only one we've got?
Well, I don't know.
I mean, I know, like, production-wise, we're not quite to Christmas, so we don't have all of our stuff.
I don't. And the problem is you guys don't know this, but I have this big thing that I pull music from, and I have what looks to be about 100 Christmas things on here.
So you gotta look it up again.
I can't find it. Like, here's not that. See, they have.
Wait,
this is not it.
That's not it. Oh, that isn't.
This is the artist.
That's the jewelry commercial one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think I have. I don't worry. It's not lost forever. It's not. I have it.
20 minutes later, we're still going through.
But
like, oh, we're practically there.
Well, it's practically Christmas, so
yeah.
I got to make sure I have it.
That's not it.
I know. I have everything but that on here. I think, if you want the truth, I think this is all still here from when we did the Christmas Eve show. But I can't find that one. See, I'm ready.
But just not with what I'm looking for.
No, I don't have that.
Oh, yeah!
It's practically Christmas! Okay.
Someone, I love it too. You're just waking up. You're like, what happened? Why are we hearing Christmas stuff?
They're playing the wrong.
Guys, we're just explaining a coping mechanism, which helps.
They're playing the wrong one again. It's one of those things, where they play it again. It's where they play the thing.
No, we very well know it's May. Did you find it?
Yeah. There you go,
Yay!
Nikki.
Oh, this is the one I wanted. Hello, that's Santa at the door.
Is that Santa I hear?
That is.
Is that the one?
He's coming up to the door.
We better get in bed, guys. He won't leave presents if we're awake.
I mean, I know it's May, but he's practically here.
It's practically Christmas, and any excuse to go back to bed, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry I was late. These people on the radio said Santa was here.
I had to go back to
bed.
I couldn't get out yet.
I wanted him to leave me some presents.
The day's better. Is it snowing?
No.
I mean, I know it's like 90, but is it
dander.
snowing?
I'm sorry.
Stay on your side of the desk.
I didn't mean to brush it off.
All right, well, hopefully you guys had fun.
It's practically Christmas.
It is.
My favorite part of the worst of the riot, when they shut up and the music starts. It's the worst of the riot on RadioU.
Many times on this show, in this room, I have said to Nikki that the riot is her past and that it's time to talk about her future.
So what else I should do?
Yeah. So, Nikki, if there's one animal in your future, what do we all know it is?
You always say it's goats.
It's goats.
It's sustainable.
It's sustainable.
I don't even know.
And,
I want it to be bears, not goats.
I know, but I'm telling you right now that if we build the business correctly, some days the goats go out and we rent them out so that they can mow lawns.
Yeah.
And then they're also available for yoga. And then when they wake up in the morning, we milk them for goat cheese. I'm not doing the milking, but someone will.
A goat spa.
Like, there's just so many things that we could do with the goats. But I want to say thanks to Uzi on Twitter. He sees maybe another potential future for you, Nikki. He has sent us a YouTube video that is about a woman named Shannon Sorage. She's 42. And like you, she was a power player.
In the media?
Well, she worked
in the world.
She worked at an HR company.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's you, Nikki, high up in a company, directing people, responsible for things that are happening.
Wait.
This sounds familiar.
Could she not take it anymore and she had to change her life?
She had to have a change. So now she spends her days training Mr. Cuddles.
What's Mr. Cuddles?
He's an 11-foot, 550-pound alligator. She trains him, she feeds him, she even kisses him.
Well, what is he? Is this a part of a job or something?
Yep, she works at Gator Country, a reptile park and rescue center in Beaumont, Texas.
I said gator.
Gator.
Really put an emphasis on something.
Gator.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best I can do. She works alongside her husband, Gary.
Mr. Gator.
He opened the park in 2005, and he is the lead nuisance alligator hunter for the state of Texas.
So if there's an alligator that's a problem, he goes and catches it?
He goes in. They call Gary. They're like, all right, get on the phone to Mr. Gator. We got to get this guy.
I don't like alligators. I think I'd like goats more, even though I don't really like goats as much.
Well, but see, it's a sliding scale.
Yeah, like what's worse?
And see, the problem is, I know that you love bears, but Nikki, with bears, like, they can't do anything.
Yes, they can.
Give me an example.
They're very
what?
trainable.
We can train them to stand
Bear
up.
hug.
No.
Hello?
No. Those goats.
Where do you think that came from?
Those goats are, bear hugger, you die.
You're like, scratch my back while you're back there.
So, no, what they do is these, not the gators, but the goats, like, they perform services.
They're weird
They're
to me.
marketable.
No, all you hear is like just the little clickety clacks and they just hang out. I just don't understand.
I will tell you, I was at this petting zoo thing a couple weeks ago where the goats look like they're possessed by the devil. Look at their eyes.
Strange noises, yeah.
They are. Those eyes are creepy. I was just like, you can't eat my soul, goat. Even though that's what it obviously wanted to do.
I don't want to sell my soul to the goats to then have the goat farm.
Well, Nikki, you just have to learn to look past their demonic exterior.
I also don't want gators. I don't feel like working at Gatorland.
I feel like you and gators would get along because they would understand you.
I feel like khakis and a knife.
Nope. I feel like you would understand them because think about how hard it has been working with me. But I think my prickly exterior will have taught you that inside every gator is just an animal that wants to be loved. Sure, it's big and misunderstood and lumbers around and it knocks things over with its big tail. But underneath it all, he's just a cuddly little bear that wants some love.
I feel like you would be more still along the lines of a goat. I feel like
I'm more of a goat than a gator?
You're more of a goat than an alligator.
I don't know. Well, I do
Make a goat noise. Let me see. No, that's not good enough.
I know, but make a gator noise.
Good.
I did
one.
it. I just did it.
Yeah, actually, that was great.
The Riot's future, 2 words. Goat Farm. RadioU.
Yesterday was Mother's Day. Hope you did something nice. It's fascinating, though, reading this story from CNN, which, fake news, so who knows?
Which, before you get in the story, let me just tell everybody, we just heard Red, their new song. They should be joining us tomorrow to catch up with them.
Well, that's what I heard.
So hopefully tomorrow, Red, if you miss anything, we always post through RadioU Riot on Facebook. If you follow and subscribe to get notified there, or at RadioU Riot on YouTube.
Okay, Mother's Day. So I went out for Mother's Day, and it's funny, I was going to buy my mom a card, and then I was like, no, I already have one. I know I do. It's on the blah, blah, blah. I'll get it when I get home. While I was looking through cards, though, I couldn't find a card that cost less than $5. Most of them were $8. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, don't be such a cheapskate. Your mom deserves it. That's not actually the point. They are leveraging that against me by making a card that expensive. They know that there is motherly guilt that will become involved, like, oh, your mom's not worth an $8 card? It's like, no, she is. How about I make a card at home and I just put $8 in it and tell her to buy something she wants?
See which one she would prefer.
Why do you deserve the money that I should be funneling towards my mother, not this card.
But I feel like you can open that up to any card, since so many of them, unless you go through the 99-cent section.
Do you know what? Well,
which
I couldn't
those are
find that. I tried.
better than they used to be.
You know what I say? Sit down and write some heartfelt sentiment. And I realize it's going to take time. It might take you 5 minutes to think through the words that you maybe want to say.
You just Google them, too, to get a jumping off point.
Just lie.
Well, no, like if you Google Mother's Day card quotes or something, and then you'll get something.
Well, there you go. You write that inside. I think that's way better, but they don't want to
you
hear
to do
that.
I tried to do that last week because I was going to make cards.
Yeah.
And then I even went on YouTube and I didn't have any envelopes. That was like the bigger problem. So I was looking up how to make envelopes out of paper.
Mm-hmm.
But then I didn't have a big enough piece of paper. It would have been a very small card.
It's fine.
Very small card.
You know what's really funny is that what I ended up having to do is that I realized too late that, in fact, I didn't have a Mother's Day card. So I gave my mom a thank you card that said...
That you add to it?
Yeah. And I was like, no, it just said, and I just said, thank you so much for being such a great mom. And thank you for being understanding that I didn't buy you a Mother's Day card.
That worked out perfect.
She actually thought it was really funny.
Well, yeah.
I know my mom well enough to know she would appreciate a good joke like that. So Mother's Day finds its origins, and this is fascinating because I did not know this. Back in 1901, I believe it is, there was a woman by the name of, Anne Jarvis. Was that her name? And so she decided that she was like, hey, I want to do something to celebrate moms everywhere. And so she pushed really hard to have Mother's Day celebrations become a thing. And so in her hometown of Grafton, West Virginia, they actually take credit for having the first official Mother's Day celebration. And that was I said 1901. I apologize. It was 1908. Within 6 years, it had become such a popular thing that in 1914, President Woodrow Wilson signed a bill recognizing Mother's Day as a national holiday. But here's where, to me, it gets interesting. Anna Jarvis hates Mother's Day because she says Mother's Day was a day to recognize and honor your mom, and she said that it became commercialized, and florists and card makers and chocolate makers and all these things ruined what she actually wanted the day to be. So if you wanted to celebrate the true spirit of Mother's Day,
old school style,
you wouldn't spend a ton of money on your mom, but instead you would recognize her, love her, and just spend time with her. That's what she made the holiday for. But now it's like, well, we got to go to brunch. That's $80 a head. Then you got a $30 card here, flower, like on and on and on and on and on.
Well, it's hard if you've been doing it that way for so long to make sure that she's not offended if you're trying to go back to just spending more time with her.
Yeah.
Because then she'd want to spend more time with you, but then also flowers, a card, and candy.
I'm having fun with you, but it'd be great if there was some chocolate to eat. You know?
Oh... Well, that's just how it is.
Just a thought. You know, your mom's probably like, we're going to keep Christ in Christmas, and be like, all right, we're going to keep Anna in Mother's Day, so no gifts this year.
Imagine a world where the Riot never talks and it's glorious RadioU music for hours on end. Now, imagine the opposite of that. You're already there. It's the worst of the Riot on RadioU.
Guys, I got to get fired. Like, I've got to. I just...
Fired up or like...
No.
Let go?
Let go. Because, look right here. This manager from Chipotle, she just won damages from Chipotle, $7.97 million.
For what?
Wrongful dismissal.
Because she got fired?
Yeah.
In a wrong way?
Yeah. They claimed that... she had stolen $626 from Chipotle, and apparently she was able to prove that was not true. So she took them to court.
And won that much money?
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't feel like for court cases, you should get what you were accused of.
Well, here's the deal.
So instead of the millions, you should get just the,
$626.
Yeah, it's like, there you go.
They fired her saying, hey, we have footage of you stealing money from the restaurant.
Well, that's a different case then.
And she was like, all right, great. You have footage of me stealing. Show me the footage. And they were like, we lost it.
It's just something they say. It's like when you call in to your utilities or cable company or internet provider and they're like, yeah, this call may be recorded, and they think they can just pull that out anytime they want. They're never doing it. They're never actually recording it.
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't have anything.
They had nothing. And since they couldn't produce that to her personally, and, of course, now they didn't have it for the court to see it,
then she got
$8
the money.
million. So, I mean, I hate to sue RadioU, but Nikki,
you want
I
$8
need
million.
$8 million, okay?
I know.
And
You're going to have to come up with something.
Just to be clear, since I'm a RadioU giver, I will give some of it back.
I don't think, though.
In the fall fundraiser, I will give some of the $8 million back to RadioU.
Now, listen,
it'll be fine.
You've been an employee for so long, I don't think they're going to come after you anytime soon if they think you're stealing money. It'd only be if you were actually stealing money.
I know, and I'm not
So
stealing
there's no
anything.
false accusations.
We have those new RadioU pens. I put a bunch of them in my bag.
They're free.
Oh.
That won't hurt you.
Got a couple stickers in my car, but
Those
that's
are
just in
also
case.
free.
Sometimes people are like, "Hey, Obadiah, it's so good to see you,"
Can I
and
have
I'll
a
give them a sticker. So, I'm thinking, no, I don't think I've stolen anything. There's a good chance that I probably owe for a shirt somewhere, but that's probably
When in doubt, though, it's fine.
probably not it. Well, dang it, guys. Okay, well, I still
What do I got to do to get a lawsuit to get $8 million?
Who do I have to sue around here to get money I didn't earn?
You have to find something else. You have to slip in a store or something.
We got to get to work on that.
The Riot.
All right, pace yourself because you're going to have to do this all day for very little money.
Radio U.
I want to say what's up to Brandon. He just texted us. You can too. Anytime you like, 877-2-RADIO-U. I will tell you a little known secret that also works for phone calls. So if you wanted to actually talk to the Riot,
You can do it too.
you can do that too. Brandon says, did Black Panther end up happening on the 70-inch this weekend?
In case you weren't with us last week, Obi was
I crossed over.
moved into a new TV.
Yep.
A 70-inch.
I got a 70-inch TV, and I also got Black Panther.
It was like a steal for both of them.
I got shockingly great deals, and so it ended up happening. And here's the lowdown. I finally had free time Saturday afternoon to kind of really get a look at the 70-inch TV. So I tried a lot of different things with it, including I brought my Xbox down, I plugged it in and looked at 4K Blu-rays. I looked at regular Blu-rays, and I streamed a lot of things, just trying to get an idea for picture quality. And I'm going to hate what I'm about to say to you, but what they have said is true. Once you get over a 55 or 60-inch TV, that's where 4K really starts to matter. So when I started putting in Blu-rays, they looked really good, but they look a little soft as compared to a 4K image, which was like, okay, this is great. Though I will say at that large size, 4K just feels like HD. It's
Sure,
not
it
like,
goes back.
It's not shockingly like, oh my gosh, but because you're taking that resolution and you're spreading it out over such a large image, it doesn't feel shockingly clearer. It just feels right.
Yeah.
And so I did watch Black Panther this weekend. I watched about half of it. I got to a point where I had some other stuff going on, and so I was like, I got to cut out of this, and I haven't gone back to it yet, which is super common for me.
You didn't sit down and watch Black Panther with your mom on Mother's Day?
We didn't.
On your new TV?
That did not happen.
They're like, here, Mom, happy Mother's Day.
I'm sure that other people would have been excited about it, but no, we did not do that. But the one thing I will say is that streaming HD. So like I've got Black Panther on Ultraviolet, so you can stream it through iTunes or through Vudu or through Movies Anywhere, like a couple of different places. And I actually took the time to find out, like, all right, where can I get the absolute best picture quality streaming? It wasn't through iTunes. It wasn't through Movies Anywhere. Vudu offered what, to my eyes, was the best quality of like the streaming image, but it's still
not 100% the same.
It was not. I was disappointed in the quality of the picture coming through HD.
Then you got to get 4K.
Maybe, but well,
then it's more money, and then it's this whole other thing.
Yeah, like that. Once you do that, you do this one upgrade. Now everybody's like, well, at 4K, it's only an extra $15 to $20 per movie.
If not, when you're looking at movies and stuff or TVs, everybody thinks, oh, the bigger must be better, but it might not be right for your space.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this, like with the 70-inch TV, video games are just
amazing.
Oh my gosh.
No problem with that one.
Insane. Like, so freaking
even
cool.
If it was such a good deal for that TV for him, even if it was just your gaming TV, like, it'd be fine.
It's amazing.
And I know that sounds ridiculous, but I
you're
mean,
right,
it is.
That part of it was amazing. But Black Panther, you know what? That's a great movie. I really liked that. I love how unique it is, but it still feels like a Marvel movie. Like they managed to do both. Like it was great. So yes, Brandon, I did kind of watch Black Panther this weekend, but I was mostly trying to figure out what I thought of the TV.
You're hearing it for the first time, and it sounds terrible.
It's the worst of the riot on Radio U.
I don't want to inundate you guys with TV news, but there were a couple of other, I think, fascinating ones that popped up over the weekend. Brooklyn Nine-Nine got canceled like Friday afternoon.
If all the people that got mad about that on social media had actually been watching the show, then it shouldn't have been canceled in the first place.
I don't watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I have thought about it because I know a lot of people that do, and I've been like, oh yeah, I should check that out. And I love Terry Crews. I like him, his public persona. Like, he wrote his book, and I follow him on Facebook, and he seems like generally an all-around good guy that has been really transparent about some of his struggles, et cetera, and I've been fascinated by it, and he's on that show. So I keep thinking, oh, yeah, I'm totally going to watch that, and then I never do. And it got canceled. And I was just shocked by the volume of the internet reaction to Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Now, one of the biggest problems we have as internet users is we think the internet is representative of society at large, which is not remotely true. But I was surprised by just how many people were like, ah! And then, 36 hours later, we find out that Brooklyn Nine-Nine got picked up by NBC.
I think NBC picked it up for 8 episodes. I might be wrong.
Okay.
The problem with this is, and this is what's going to happen when it comes to a broadcast network buying another network's broadcast show.
Uh-huh.
Especially if it's going to NBC. Everybody was like, oh, this is great. It's still around. It had poor numbers on Fox.
Right.
It's going to have poor numbers still on NBC.
And the thing is,
deep down, it's like people got to know that.
Unless I'm getting it wrong, I believe Fox they already have lower numbers than NBC
They're
in general.
Both pretty similar.
They're not. They both don't do very well.
Sure.
Compared to
and people
ABC
are like
and CBS.
They jump back on the train if something that you had liked but maybe not consistently watched goes away and you feel slighted, like it should still be around. So the first episode might be great, but then it just goes back to the same viewing habits. Mm-hmm. So I don't see it making a lifelong change to NBC.
I also wonder how it will affect the content. Because, for example, Supergirl was on CBS, it moved to the CW. And then
and its budget moved too.
It did. Like it has a much lower budget now than it had when it was on CBS. And then what was the other one that we just saw? The Last Man Standing was canceled at ABC, and it's been off the air for 2 years? And it got picked up by Fox. So that's happening. That kind of stuff just fascinates me.
For the Brooklyn Nine-Nine, though, the interesting thing is that back in the beginning when it was being shopped to networks, NBC was supposed to buy it, but Fox outbid it. So it was originally supposed to be an NBC show, and they say that they were sad that it got away. So that's why part of the reason why they're taking it back for a few episodes.
So one more popped up over the weekend. Something I was interested in was the Greatest American Hero. They were making that.
Oh, the ABC one, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was going to start.
How bad was that?
It was going to star one of the girls from New Girl.
Yeah.
And it was going to be I think a reboot / sequel, because I think they had the guy from the old show was going to show up at the beginning of that show. And they did a pilot that didn't get picked up.
ABC just said no to the whole thing.
Yep.
Which is usually a sign that it did not turn out well.
It really must not have been any good, right?
Because they had talked about it so much that it's almost like you felt like they had to go with it.
Yeah. I just assumed that they would, and
that's not the case.
They said no. But I mean, hey, another one that seemed like a surefire thing was, this has been quite a few years ago, pre the movie. There was a Wonder Woman TV show that they shot a pilot for that they were like, oh yeah, this is a surefire thing. Like, it's absolutely going to happen. And then not so much. that didn't happen.
That
so.
was your TV news over the weekend. A lot of people tweeting about stuff, a lot of anger.
There was a lot that was happening. It was the home game was kind of fun on that.
I know. You hate the Riot. Why are they on the radio?
Stupid. Yeah.
Honestly, we can't trust them with anything else. It's the Riot on RadioU.
Nikki, where are you at on spoilers?
Spoilers?
Do
I
you
actually
freak
don't
out
mind.
for spoilers? You don't care?
I do not mind. If it's something that I'm not going to actually see in the theater, and I just don't have the same care about it, I actually like to know how it's going to end up, because then that'll make me decide if I want to even see it. So spoilers don't tend to bother me.
It's interesting that Nikki says that, because obviously, again, the internet, in its all self-importance, people freak out about spoilers.
Sure.
And there's part of me that understands that, because I have a very particular memory about a TV show whose finale I was waiting to watch, and someone spoiled it for me and took glee in kind of ruining the outcome when I had waited and waited to kind of see it, and I didn't want to know. I wanted to experience it kind of firsthand.
Or it also happens with sports more than you realize. You couldn't make it to watch the game. You finally get home. You want to watch the game. Someone tells you who wins.
And well, for me with sports, if I know the outcome, I pretty much can't watch it.
Then you can't. But to others, you wanted to watch it. Like, that's what you were looking forward to.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes if it's a really big game, like a championship, and I find out my team, well, like if I find out my team lost, I'm definitely not watching it. But if I found out they won, you might get me to sit through it to see that victory happen. But
otherwise, it doesn't bother me.
Well, it's interesting. And I would love to hear from people. You can text us 877-2RadioU. Or if you check us out, Facebook.com/RadioU. I'm posting an article there from a website I've never read before called The Conversation. And so they talk about, the article's called The Science of the Plot Twist. And so it's basically about how spoilers affect your enjoyment of
a movie
or a book or any kind of a story. And they say, despite all of the things that you have to say about it, spoilers typically enhance your enjoyment of something instead of detracting from it. They say that even if you know the outcome, you will still get excited at the action, laugh at the jokes, et cetera, et cetera. It does not remove the power of the experience from you because you already know what's going to happen at the end.
Sure.
So
now, studios probably were like with Avengers. They wanted to keep that very quiet about its particular ending, even though a lot of people knew some of the stuff going into it. It just seems like they didn't want everybody talking about it because they feel like that might ruin some of it. And then you might not want to go.
Well, for me, again, comic book fan.
You already knew all that.
It's one of those things where, I didn't know exactly how they were going to do it. But, I definitely knew that they were going to.
But, for me, when Eric came home from watching it, I was like, hey, tell me how it ends.
Yeah.
Because then will I even care?
Yeah. Well, I do think, too, the huge reaction to spoilers is something where it's like, ooh, we want to build the mystique. So think about this. It actually plays in the studio's favor because if they're going out there, and they literally posted things like, don't spoil the ending. So if no one's willing to tell you what happens, then the only way for you to find out is to drop $15 on a movie ticket to see what happens.
They've been trying to do that a lot with Deadpool, too, just to make it funny. Like, you wouldn't do something like this. You wouldn't spoil it for anybody, would you?
Yeah, because I know ever since the end of Deadpool, I have laid awake at night wondering how it could all possibly end.
That's what they still do.
Man, I just rolled my eyes so hard they might be stuck. Sorry. But anyway, I posted the article, Facebook.com/RadioU. Tell us what you think. Are you one of those people that freaks out at spoilers and won't even watch a trailer? That's Hudson. Or are you somebody that wants to know exactly what happens? That's Nikki.
Or are you in between? Are you an Obi?
That's me.
Wish the worst of the riot would never end?
Everything that has a beginning has an end.
What is wrong with you? Get our daily podcast through iTunes, Google Play, or the RadioU app.
Don't tell me that your Monday wouldn't get better with cupcakes, because it would. If you had a cupcake right now, you would be like, this is what was missing.
Dude, if we had an assortment, do you know how even better that would be?
You know what? I'd like a very chocolatey cupcake.
If you just want to have a choice as to what you want to eat.
What about like a cream cheese, buttercream type icing on the top?
That does sound good. But in this case, we're talking about chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry cupcakes.
Well, delicious.
They sound wonderful.
Delicious. And they sounded really wonderful to a bear in Rockaway Township, New Jersey. They had a bear. Christine Allen owns a bakery. So she had a large order that she was trying to get on top of. So she bakes 24 cupcakes, puts them in the back of her car, and she's going to finish up the order the next day.
Yeah.
She says at about 2 a.m., she hears this loud crunching sound, and the dog starts barking. And then she gets up in the morning to find that her back window has been smashed. All the cupcakes have been eaten. She said there was some smeared icing and a big paw print left in the back seat.
It was a black bear.
Mm-hmm.
Hey!
So,
he ate all the cupcakes.
He did. And this bear, this is not the first time he's been around. He broke their back door and got into their garage and ate a bunch of food earlier.
He seems hungry.
And, well, you know, Nikki, it's practically Christmas.
This poor bear.
He's building up to.
Well, what I don't like is, we wouldn't shame anybody else who would do this, would we?
We wouldn't.
If you're like eating the cupcakes, we wouldn't point out, hey, you ate all of them. Instead, you just be respectful about it. But for this bear, we have no problem just dragging his name through the mud.
I love this. When he broke into their back door, apparently he broke the basement door to get to the garbage.
Yeah.
I read that as garage. He ate a bunch of their garbage and then just laid on his back in the backyard in the sun.
He said he was just relaxing.
Just having a nice day.
But he has been trouble to the neighborhood, so he's been around. They're familiar with him.
I am surprised that they haven't put that bear down yet. Now, I know what you're thinking.
Moved it?
No.
Moved it.
Killed it. And here's
no, they're not going to.
Because he's not afraid of people. Obviously, at least not afraid of people's stuff. And that's the kind of thing where a black bear wanders into a backyard where, some kids are just hanging out.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I can't find anything to eat. These look good.
They say that's the problem, as in with any animals, what happens, and not just in this area, but black bears are very common in New Jersey. And the issue is, as they get more friendlier and friendlier and they come and get food from you, whether intentionally or if you leave something out, they don't know the difference.
Sure.
And they're having problems, and they don't want the bear to be friendlier and come closer because then authorities will kill it. So they're trying to figure out what to do.
It's interesting. They have a 3-category system. A Category 3 bear is not a threat.
Is it a storm?
Yeah. Category 2 bear means the bear is becoming a nuisance, but it's not a threat to life, and it's caused property damage of less than $1,000. A Category 1 bear.
This is the worst.
Breaks into a home or does substantial damage. So that's actually my question there is like that bear broke into their house and ate their garbage. So does that mean that he's a Category 1 bear?
No, it means he's a recycler, okay? He's just reusing.
Good call.
He's upcycling. He's composting. Like, I don't know what else we want people to do.
Well, they say that they're animal lovers. They don't really want them to do anything. But at this point, this bear, it's like once you escalate problems, they say the police will respond differently now. So they have now notified New Jersey Fish and Wildlife.
If you're in a bear area, don't leave food in your car, too. So hang your car up.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I guess
it's their fault.
I guess it's their fault.
It is. I'm glad you noticed that, too.
It's their fault that they eat and had food.
Cupcakes. A human would have broken in.
Sure, they would have.
So
that makes perfect sense.
The bear just got there first.
I mean, in fairness, if there was glass in front of me right now and a cupcake and all I had to do was break the glass, I'd break the glass.
We all would.
The worst of the riot is over, but the fun can keep going.
Hey, I saw you checking out my goods.
Check the Riot blog or stalk us on social media.
You want to sample them? A little try before you buy, huh?
Through riot.radiou.com.
Reese's does not rhyme with feces.